How would you like your team to finish? What is the biggest thing for you to finish the first semester before you get a break? What do you want them focusing on as you're going into these last two games?
I think one of the themes that we've talked about quite a bit the first part of the season is being competitive and competing at a real high level for 60 minutes. And so as we enter our last weekend against a top two team, that's what I would look for. 6 periods where we're competing hard, we're playing with some energy, and if we can get 6 periods up in Minneapolis with saying that we did that, we accomplished that. That gives us the best chance to be successful up there. So that's what I would wish for right now, and that's what we'll talk about in the next couple of days and as we get ready for Friday night's game.
Some of your players have talked about in the last week or so that, especially at the last couple of games, they're really good. They like scoring the pretty goals, but it's like we've talked about after the games, the hard areas that are where you're going to have to win some games. How do you develop that in players that that do like the score goals that look flashy, but when you get down to it, you're going to have to be good in the hard areas to win tough games?
Yeah, it's getting back to what we just talked about, competing. And so if a team's defending well, like what Duluth did both Saturday and Sunday, and their goaltenders are playing well, if I want to create chances or I want to get on the score sheet, here's a space or here's an area where I have to go and do it. And so, that's competing. And so it gets down to, there's probably X amount, 40, 50, 60, some nights more on a smaller rink, 50-50 battles. Are you winning a chunk of those? Aren't you winning a chunk of those? And again, you get back to competing. And so if I want to score goals, whatever level, that's the best area to score because the highest percentage of goals are going to be coming within this small space. Well, unfortunately, they have 2 defensemen and probably a forward bag, maybe 2 forwards. Some teams collapse in there tightly. And then, if you're able to get by all those layers, then you got this goalie standing there, and you've got to try to get the puck by her. And some nights, the puck might, as I mentioned to you earlier, after Sunday's game, it might go off your ankle. I may not go 3 or 4 games without scoring, and all of a sudden I'm standing in front of the net, and the puck goes off my hip or it goes off my shoulder. It accidentally hits my stick, and it goes in, and that just makes me feel better. But it gets back to competing. And so, there's shots coming in. The puck's going to be loose. Am I hunting the puck? Am I recovering the puck? And am I willing to stay in those areas knowing that I'm probably going to get punished a little bit while I stand there?
Mark, you got Caroline Harvey back. What boost did she provide to get back in the lineup? And Britta was kind of joking that over the last couple of weeks, Caroline was mad at herself because she was breathing heavy on the ice trying to work her way back. Can you just speak to the drive and the determination she had to get back to being the Caroline Harvey that we all know?
Well, I think one of the things when you come back from an injury, if that injury's been for an extended period of time for her, 5-6 weeks before you play your next game, and she's in tune with what she wants to do with her career. Not only here at Wisconsin, but internationally. She wants to become the best player she's capable of becoming. She takes care of herself really well. She does all the little things away from the rink to continue to progress and continue to push herself. And that's why, you saw last year as the season went along, she kept getting better and better. As we started this season, she was better than she was last season, because she understands the process that it takes to become a better player. Even though you're a good player, if I want to become better, I have to work at it, and she works at it. And so as she got back into practice after being out, and she's watching her heart, and her heart's elevating, and it's not coming down as quick as she wants to. I mean, she's competitive, and she wants to be where she's at when we started the season. And unfortunately, with the injury, it sets you back, and it takes a period of time. But, I thought she played well, especially the second half of Saturday's game, which was her first game in a number of weeks. And then, my big concern was she going to be able to come back Sunday, recover? Because I'm sure when she woke up Sunday, she was probably a little stiff, she was probably a little sore, but as I came to the rink and talked to her, she thought she recovered pretty well, and then she went out and played, 20-plus minutes in Sunday's game, and again did pretty well. And having those 2 games in her pocket now is going to help her as she prepares for Friday night's game up in Minneapolis, because she's got a couple, games under her belt.
Obviously, it's early in the season, but what does a series against a highly ranked Minnesota team, knowing the history and the border battle and everything, what does that mean at this point in the season?
It always means a lot. I mean, every time you play in Minneapolis, you go up there and you play the Gophers. I mean, I've been doing it for 20-plus years now, and I would say all the games, I can't think of any games that got really lopsided one way or the other. They've all been entertaining, whether we've played down here at LeBon, we've played up at Ritter, we've played in NCAA quarterfinal games, semifinal games, championship games. They're all entertaining, so whoever's going to be up at Ritter, Friday and Saturday afternoon are going to, see some high-quality hockey. It's going to be competitive. Both teams have a bunch of good players. Both have good goaltenders, and so who's going to compete? Who's going to, make a play? Who's going to make a difference in the games? That's why we play them. That's what we're going to be able to see Friday nights. So we'll prepare. They have to play tonight at St. Cloud, and so they've got another game that they've got to play prior to playing us. So we're excited. It's a good way to finish the first half of the season off. We've talked about, these last 6 games that we have to play. We've played 4 of them. We got to play 2 more of them. And then we get an opportunity to, take a little time off, analyze where we are in the first half, and get ourselves prepared for the second half.
I'm going to put you on the spot. Do you have a favorite memory of this rivalry or a game that sticks out that you were like, this is some of the best hockey I've, ever seen?
Well, the one that's the clearest is the one we had last year in Duluth in the semifinal game. I mean, of all the games I've played against Minnesota or coached against them, played too when I was on the men's side, and then when I played against them, that was I wish it would have been the national. If I had a perfect mirror, that would have been the national championship game. It would have been on a television station that was around the country, because both teams were playing at a high level. Both teams had great chances. Their good players for both teams were playing well. Goaltenders were playing well, and it was going to come down to somebody making a play in overtime to end it, and we were able to do that. But it was a great hockey game. The other one that sticks out is our national championship in '06 up in Mariucci on the big ice sheet, and we ended up winning that game and winning the national championship. So I could keep going down, and Frosty could start going down his list of games, and so that's what makes the series fun. I mean, they're well coached, they've got good players, they always have, and so it comes down to, as I said earlier, who's going to make a play, who's going to get a power play capitalize, what goaltender is going to make this save, and that's what makes it fun. So for us to prepare for it, it's an energizing type of week where you know who you're going up against, we know where we're playing, and so it's easy to get up for these games.
You've had a situation where you've given Jane the first night, Ava the second night in goal. At the break, will you kind of evaluate that a little bit more and see what your plan is going to be for a second half, whether you go for one or you keep going? Is there a time you want to be locked into a goalie, or you think you can roll with 2 for quite a while?
I think, to answer that would be, again, it's this weekend evaluate what we have. And so, I thought Jane played well, especially early on in the game Saturday, where we needed her with that penalty the first minute of it, and then a breakaway not too far after that. And so, as I've mentioned before, just give us a chance to win. We're looking for that from our goaltenders. So these 2 games up in Minneapolis are no too different than the ones in Columbus, because the one thing I can't answer is that down the road, if somebody in practice gets twinked or an injury gets in a game, and is my other goaltender ready? So to really answer your question, yeah, after we get done Saturday, then next week we can evaluate a lot of different things. We can evaluate our power play, our penalty kill. We can look back on what things we did well against certain opponents the first half, what things that we need to work on. And then as we come back, we get this 3-week period where we don't have school. And so you really have got the players' attention, because they're not having to go to class, they're not having to worry about writing papers, taking tests. We can do hockey for 3 weeks, and it's really a time to really improve some things that you need to work on, and then all of a sudden January's over in February, and then you're looking at the playoffs, so it happens quick. So we'll look at everything, and goaltending will certainly be something we look at. And if as we go through the next weekend or we go through the early part of January and one of them starts to separate, then you might have to make a decision.